Hello everybody, how are you guys doing?
Great.
Good.
Hello.
Alright, just to tell a bit about myself. My name is teukad and I've been healing since vanilla, but obviously mistweaving since the start of MOP. At the start I wasn't that great, obviously, because I had a lot to learn because hey, mistweavers were a new class. But over all my adventures I've learned, and doing all the theory crafting I've learned and taught myself, and how to get out of the what I like to call the Mistweaver curse of leveling, which I'll explain in a minute. Hoping to make you guys like either double or triple your healing numbers, because yeah, I'll just tell you what I'm up to at the moment. I'm doing Siege of Orgrimmar at the moment with my team Convert to Beer. At the moment we are working on Thok as of this video, and because last night we got Spoils of Pandaria down, so that was awesome for us. This is on normal mode, by the way. And as you can probably tell, I'm Australian, so that gives me brownie points for you Americans, apparently.
Yes.
And so I figured to talk about Mistweaver today. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Mistweaver leveling curse. Now, I fell for this curse, and I'm going to tell you what it is. While you're leveling, right, you get all these you get your most important spells later, but you get your spells like your like Surging Mists and Renewing Mists and Smoothing Mists at early level. So these spells are engraved to your mind thinking, these are my most important healing spells and I need to use these. And I see these monks that are stuck in that mindset in Alpha all the time, because they're just stuck in that mindset where monks aren't designed to do that. They're basically, the best way to describe a Mistweaver monk is their healing style is they heal everybody up at the same time. They get as many renewing mist out, and then when that big damage is coming, they get everybody up, buffed up in chunks. So, as you may know, they just like go up and up and up. Because I see some Mistweavers, because, for example, I was helping a Mistweaver not too long ago, and I went into Throne of Thunder. First boss, Jinrock. And the first thing that I was running water logs at the time, and the first thing I noticed is that I used 127 uplifts in that one fight, but this monk I was helping only had 15 uplifts. And she was doing a lot of Surging Mists, and she had like no mana, like half that fight. So so that's probably the first thing I'm going to tell you is just basically what your abilities do, and we'll go through the spell book and see things that you probably didn't really notice, and just get into like somehow the actual spells behave. So open up your spell book, everybody. So first thing I'm probably just going to actually let's go to talents first, because that's what it says in my notes. So the talents, like obviously you know, level 15, it's pretty much movement based and alright, right? You got Clarity, which reacts with another level 90 talent, which we'll talk about later. Clarity is really good for really small boss engage fights. Like, it's one of those things where if you need to move out of the poo, but the room is too small and you're constantly moving, that it's really good. For example, a really good example of this is something like General Nazgrim, or the Protectors, or Nourishin, or Shah Pride, that sort of thing. But Shah Pride, we will talk about another spell which makes that really useful. As I said, this spell is more used for small confined rooms if you still need to move around and move as a group. It is a pretty awesome talent. Tiger Lust, it's more of a PvP thing. I only used it once in an actual boss fight, which was a heroic Jinrock. No, Ji-Kun, sorry. Heroic Ji-Kun. During the tornado phase, where my mage was having a really hard time staying on the platform, so I gave him Tiger Lust so he could stay on the platform. But as I said, that's a bit more of a support thing. Momentum, as you probably may know, it's awesome. Just rolls and you get extra movement speed. Much better for really big area, like really big rooms, where like you have a lot of ground to cover, like Horodon or such fights like that. And plus, the extra movement speed is nice. Now, the level 30 stuff is probably something that's a little more contradictory, which has a lot more depth to it. Now, as you know, level 30 is Chi Wave, Zen Sphere, and Chi Burst. And these are all free healing spells after 5.3, I believe. Yes, I believe it was 5.3. And they had the Chi cost removed, and the Chi cost, and they had much longer cooldowns, but they had the buffed and in damage and healing. Pretty much all the time, no matter which one it is, you always want to keep these on cooldown. So you want to say have a add-on or have a mental picture that you always want to keep these guys on add-on, because one thing that monks are really good at is free healing. We are one of the most mana efficient classes at the moment. If you look at my armory at the moment, I'm trying to get rid of as much spirit as I can at the moment. Like at the moment, I'm sitting around at 7.25k spirit. I'm actually thinking I can go down to 5k spirit, and that's what I'm trying to do at the moment. Is just go down to that 5k spirit, because and I know some Mistweavers can go as far as to 2k spirit, because we're just that efficient at using our mana once you learn how to use your mana tea and all that. When it comes to Chi Wave, basically what you do with this one is, Chi Wave is more for those fights where you're spread out, there isn't really much grouping up, but you just want to get free damage out. You just have the boss selected, throw Chi Wave out there. It will do some damage and it'll also do some healing. It's a nice little bit of amount. As I said, it's free healing. Just throw it out when you want to. Zen Sphere is not really that good in my opinion. The reason why I say that is because it's very situational. It's a hot, but but at the end of its duration, it explodes and does healing and area effect damage. If you want a healing spell like that, play Druid, in my opinion. That's what Druids are more designed for. And when it comes to Chi Burst has the longest cooldown of all of them, but it does the most healing and most damage out of all of them as well. But as you may know, as some of you might not know this term, it's also a skill shot ability. What a skill shot means is that it will fire it in front of you. You can't actually really control where it goes. Where your character is facing, it will fire in that general direction. So if I face this way and do Chi Burst, it'll fire, as I said, directly in front of me. But if I say want to heal the character over there, let's just say I'm healing you over there, and the character I want to heal is over here. I want to use Chi Burst. I do Chi Burst now, it will hit you. So you just got to be careful with Chi Burst and learn how to use it. Chi Burst is one of those things where it's like a bit tricky to use once you start learning how to use it, but once you figure out that you got to face the target and then use Chi Burst, then it does a lot of damage. And also does a nice amount of damage in AoE packs as well, like for Shard Pride, Chi Burst is really good because you can use this on the ads during that fight, and just does a lot of damage to those ads, and you can help burst down those ads because Mistweavers do pretty decent damage. Now if you go to level 45, Power Strike. This is more for if you know you've got the content on farm, and you've got fist weaving. It's more for fist weaving if you want to fist weave quite a lot and do a nice amount of damage. It's pretty much free chi that you get while fist weaving. It's an okay spell, but it's not efficient. Ancestry, this is okay if you're leveling or your spirit and you're justing 90. It is okay at that level because hey, you need that extra bit of mana so you don't as fast or other things like that. But my personal favorite in level 45, which I think you should always pick up, because it's always useful, is Chi Brew. Especially after the changes for Chi Brew. Instantly it restores 2 Chi and grants 2 stacks of Mana Tea, and it has a maximum charges of 2, so it works a little bit like Roll, where you can have 2 rolls at the same time. Chi Brew has kind of the same idea. But there's a little combo that you can do with Chi Brew, which I'll talk about a little bit later, which I like to call the Wombo combo, which is, to put it into terms, it's a tranquility you can do every 45 seconds. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Level 60, these are all very situational. Mega Piece is really good for PvP, and you're not really going to use this much. Well, compared to Charging Oxwave and Leg Sweep, these are probably the ones you're going to use quite a lot more often, especially when there's ads. Because starting those ads or doing all that stuff is pretty darn useful. As I said, it's really situational when it comes to that. Level 75 is like all your defensive spells. Healing Elixir, not so good in my opinion, because the thing is, you have to have your Chi, you have to have a beer, a Mana Tea, or some other type of beer ready to use on cooldown, ready to go. It's not that great of a spell. Reason being is because it heals you for 15% of your health, but it heals you for 15% of your health, but also when you drop below 35% health. Ideally, you don't want to drop below 35% health. That's the first thing. But secondly, it's a bit uncontrollable. Like, I don't really like it passive like that, where it heals you for 15% of your health. Plus, 15% of your health is not a lot. It's like to give you equivalent, it's like an uplift. A non-crit uplift. That's kind of what it feels like. That works on you and you only. Dampen Harm is a very good spell. It's very useful in certain situations. Like General Nazgûl is a really good example for that, because all the stuff he does is physical damage. So when he does War Song, or you're about to get hit by a Reaper, or it pretty much, like, if you know the type of damage that the boss is doing, you either go Dampen Harm or Diffuse Magic. And Diffuse Magic, which I'll just talk about in a second, is probably the best spell ever. It's one of my favorites. You can cheese so many boss mechanics with this. Like, for example, Protectors, where when you hit that tanking guy, I forget his name, and he goes into his separate measures phase, and you have to kill Sorrow, and you have that big circle of death around you. What you can do is, you can run to a corner by yourself, call CTR saying, hey, I'm soaking this by myself. You can stand there by yourself, and you can hit this. If you hit the spell before you get hit by the Inferno Blast, you take almost no damage, and that's less healing that your raid has to do. It is really, really beautiful. As I said, it's just beauty. It's beauty in a way. As I said, you take less damage. You always find a situation in Diffuse Magic, because there's always magic damage that's always happening. Just as I said, always have Diffuse Magic. Level 90 are the big ones. Rushing Jade Wind invokes Wind, the White Tiger, and Chi Torpedo. Rushing Jade Wind. You guys might remember the old Rushing Jade Wind. It was pretty garbage, because it was very, very, very situational where you could actually use it. As I said, the only situation where I got to use it was on Heroic Ji-Kun, with the ads, where you have to go down to the nest and you have to kill the nest guardians. The Rushing Jade Wind is awesome, because that means on a stack fight, for example like Shah Pride, you can stand there, spin around, and you can still keep using your other healing spells while Rushing Jade Wind is happening, and you get to heal your raid around you, plus kill ads at the same time. And if you have Ancestries up, part, hang on, let me just double check the name of it, because I'm terrible at names. Serpent Zen, that's it. Especially when you have Serpent Zen up, after which I'll talk about in a bit. It does a silly amount of healing. Like, the amount of healing it will do is kind of silly. The only bad side about it is it costs a lot of mana, and you just have to learn how to use it and how not to use it. So if you say use it too many times, you'll out of mana very fast. That's just the first problem with that. Zwen is kind of useful when, as I said, you're spread out and you're having trouble with DPS and you're doing a lot of fist weaving. Zwen is considered as a really good healing cooldown. Especially if you go into fist weaving, you can pop it and Zwen just does extra healing for you because every time he attacks, his attacks are equally converted into healing for the rest of your party or raid. It's not much I really need to talk about that. As I said, it's really good for fist weaving and also just getting extra damage. And if you like just spread out, you can just chuck Zwen out just for free damage for the raid so you can kill that boss faster. Chi Torpedo is another really good spell. That's one of those. You can either, if you're having trouble with rushing Jade Wind and you're finding yourself ooming, you can pick up Chi Torpedo. Chi Torpedo with the level 15 Clarity. That is really awesome because you can do 3 Chi Torpedoes at once. 3 torpedoes at once and just go, hey, free healing. I just did about 2.1 million healing and I didn't use any mana. As I said, it's free healing, as I said. Awesome if you're having mana issues or other things like that. If we talk about glyphs for a second, after talking about talents, actually before I go into glyphs, do I have any questions about talents?
Nope.
I'm good.
I got it.
Cool. With glyphs, I'm going to talk about a little bit of a debate. Mistweavers either love or hate this spell, and that's Glyph of Mana Tea. For people that don't know what Glyph of Mana Tea does is, your Mana Tea is instantly consumed, instantly consumes 2 stacks of Mana Tea, but puts on 10-second cooldown. So it doesn't do the channeling effect anymore, but what it will do is it will just consume 2 stacks straight away and just do that. Reason why I like this spell, why I like this glyph, is because you can just consume 2 stacks and just keep healing. There's literally no downtime. You're just using 1 global cooldown for healing, and you can just drink 2 stacks and go. And in another 10 seconds, you'll probably use enough chi to get another 3 stacks, then can consume another 2 stacks and go. Just consume 2 stacks and go. Because you have to remember, with Mana Tea, every time you consume those 2 stacks, it restores 8% of your mana, which is the equivalent, according to memory, that's 28k mana that you get back every time you use that, and that is like a extra smoothing mist, renewing mist that you can do. That's like a renewing mist that you can do, that you can throw out there, because you have to remember, renewing mist is pretty expensive to use if you're not careful of what you're doing. As I said, some Mistweavers despise this spell because they like sitting there and drinking all their tea at once, getting to full mana, then going. Because in Siege of Orgrimmar at the moment, there's actually downtime for healers. But personally, I believe there is never downtime because you always got to be healing because there's always damage happening. Because the tank is always taking damage. That's just the way I see it. But it really comes down to a personal preference with that one. But I suggest using that glyph because that glyph is really, really, really powerful. Now there's a new glyph that came out with this patch or a rebuilding of a new one, and that is Glyph of Targeted Exertion. I'll just link that in save for a second. That one there. That is just a free healing spell pretty much. Yes, it does less healing, but you can use that on other people, because besides, you always want to keep that spell harm on cooldown, because hey, it's your cheapest chi generator. You always want to keep that on cooldown. Even if you don't need healing, you keep it on cooldown. I just use it now as a healing spell. I use it on the tank or a melee DPS or anyone like that. It's just so good as of a healing spell. And the last, and this is what these are the glyphs I'm currently using at the moment. And the other good healing spell I like to use is Glyph of Renewing Mist. Your Renewing Mist travels to the furthest injured player within 40 yards rather than the closest and most injured player in 20 yards. This, in my opinion, it makes this spell slightly better, because that means you can have more control over it. The only reason why you don't want to keep this is, say, your job is to keep the melee alive, so you can just throw the Renewing Mist on the melee and all the melee will get it. Or you can throw it on the melee or jump on a range and jump on a melees, but there are rarely situations like that. Or if there's someone to say like really far away and you can't reach that person, what you can do is you can do Renewing Mist, and Renewing Mist will travel to that person that's really too far away to heal, and then you can use your uplift to heal them back up, which is really, really nice and awesome like that. And the other glyph I want to talk about, which is every now and then useful, which I sometimes switch for, is Glyph of Zen Meditation. All it does is it just makes it so you can move while in Zen Meditation. It is kind of useful in some situations, like I was using it on a Darumu, for example, during the maze, where I can pop Zen Meditation and move and people take like no damage because of how Zen Meditation works. As I said, Zen Meditation, really good. All that stuff, fantastic. And I just love Zen Meditation. As I said, Zen Meditation's awesome. When it comes to minor glyphs, as I said, it's complete choice. At the moment, I'm just using Zen Flight, Fighting Pose, and Crackling Lightning Jade thingy, whatever, the cosmetic stuff. As I said, most of it's cosmetic. Zen Flight's kind of useful and outside rating, but as I said, they're minor glyphs. You don't need to talk about that sort of thing. And the only other glyph that could be useful is Glyph of Life Cocoon. Life Cocoon can now be cast while stunned. That is more of a PvP one, but I remember using it once for a very specific boss mechanic, and I can't remember what boss it was. As I said, that's just something for you guys to be aware of, that something that does exist. So, as I said, just keep that in mind. So before I go on, you go for that.
What was that last glyph again?
Glyph of Life Cocoon.
Okay, thank you.
So it means you can just cast Life Cocoon while stunned. And just quickly go into spells and all that stuff real quick. I'll just talk about, obviously, some of your main healing spells, so like how they can react with each other, just things you might not know about. We'll just talk about real quickly, like how to fist weave. Fist weaving is just a very basic thing. Some monks know how to fist weave, and some monks don't know how to fist weave. As I said, fist weaving is pretty much just using 3 spells, and then you get a free spell for using it. Is jab, tiger palm, blackout kick, and of course your jade statue that you always want to keep out all the time. When it comes to fist weaving, it's all about keeping your blackout kick buff up all the time, which is that one, and then your filler is tiger palm. Reason why tiger palm and not a blackout kick, because A, tiger palm only costs 1 chi, and secondly, if you get enough stacks of tiger palm, you'll get a buff from tiger palm. I'm just trying to remember the name of it, and that is wow, what's it from? I'm trying to remember.
Tiger power.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, no, not talking about that buff, because when you use tiger palm 5 times, you get a free surging mist. And that's just one of those things where it's nice because you can just throw it out on a tank and all that stuff. So what you can do is you go... And also, when you're fist weaving, you always want to also make sure that your Renewing Mist and your Expel Harm are always on cooldown. Blackout Kick, as you said, you have Serpent Zen all the time. You want to make sure that Serpent Zen is up on 100%, has 100% uptime while you're fist weaving, obviously. And the other buff is Wild Mist was the buff I was looking for. And as I said, you always want to do Tiger Palm when you have a chance. But there's a passive that you got to keep and remember. It's when you do a jab, it will, and you'll get a buff where it increases the amount of damage that your Blackout Kick or Tiger Palm will do by 100%, by 50%, and it will restore 4% of your mana back as well. But you don't want to do jab, Blackout Kick, jab, Tiger Palm, jab, Tiger Palm, jab, Tiger Palm, jab, Tiger Palm all the time to get that damage up. Yeah, you'll do a lot of damage, a lot of healing, but you'll run out of mana very fast because jab costs a lot of mana. Because jab costs around 7% of your mana, where you only get 4% back. So really, you're losing 3% of your mana every single time. So when you're doing that, you want to stop every now and then. While you're fist waving, you want Chi Wave happening while you're fist waving, because Chi Wave's a better spell for fist waving. And also, you always want to make sure that your Expel Harm and your Renewing Mist are always off cooldown, and Chi Wave. It's pretty much just rotating them. It's just a practice of feeling as well. Like if you can feel that you can do your jab, Tiger Palm, jab, Tiger Palm, jab, Tiger Palm, and you got plenty of mana, and you got a lot of mana T to back that up, then you can do that, and your numbers will be kind of ridiculous to when you do that. But as I said, just be careful when you do that, because you will pretty fast. And Expel Harm, and if you use your Expel Harm and Renew Mist and you do jab afterwards, you can just go Tiger Palm, Tiger Palm, Tiger Palm, and all that stuff. And when you get your 5 stacks of this buff that you get, which reduces the mana cost of Surging Mist by 100%, you can just chuck that to the most wounded player on your team and just keep going and all this stuff, and just Tiger Palm, and all that stuff. And make sure you only use Blackout Kick when you need to refresh that buff and all that stuff. That's just the fist weaving way of how things are done and all that stuff. Fortunately, I can't really show you rotation, because reason why if I do that is because then I can't actually talk to you as I'm going through it, because I have to hold down my push to talk button, and it stuffs up my UI and all that stuff. The other method of healing is the whole smoothing, renewing mist thing. You get a lot of people that say, oh, you always got to keep renewing mist up on every single player 100% of the time. Well, tell them this. It's impossible. You can do it, but you can't do it 100% uptime. Reason being is because I'm going to choose some math for you guys here. Renewing Mist only lasts for 8 seconds. And it has an 8-second cooldown. No, sorry, it lasts for 18 seconds and has an 8-second cooldown. By the time it's up cooldown, then there's another 10 seconds left on the Renewing Mist, and you can throw it out there, and you have 6 people hotted, and then by the time it's falling off, you go, wait, hang on, it's coming off cooldown now, but the person I previously cast it on the first time is doing all that, is coming off cooldown. So really, you can only have a maximum of 6. But there's a really awesome thing I want to introduce you to, guys, and that's called Thunder Focus T. This thing is beauty. It is amazing. Always have this somewhere. This is something you always want to keep a track of. Thunder Focus T is literally your most powerful thing ever, because it leads to something else which I'll talk to you guys about. What it does, for people that don't know, is that when you drink it, it doubles the healing of your next Surging Mist, ignore that, and causes your uplifts to refresh the duration of Renewing Mist on all targets that are available at the time. So now at this point you can go, okay, I have 6 Renewing Mists up right now, and I see big incoming damage coming soon, because DDM's telling me, hey, this damage is coming in 11 seconds, you can go, okay, I'm going to hit my Thunder Focus T, and then hit my Uplift, and I go, okay, everybody has a new Uplift channel spells are up now. So everybody has new regenerations, and everybody has brand new baby renewing mist. It's like born again. Right? So then I can throw renewing mist out again. So then 9 people will get it. And then another 8 seconds, I can throw it out again, and hey look, all 10 people have renewing mists. Awesome! But unfortunately, that will only last for 7 seconds. Right? But there's a lot you can do in that 7 seconds. And during that 7 seconds, I'm going to introduce you to something called the Wombo Combo. During that time, during that phase, this is something pretty hard to pull off. But once you master it and learn it, the combo I'm about to teach you here is like a tranquility, druid tranquility that you can do every 1.5 minutes. It is that powerful of a combo. My raid team considers this as an actual raid cooldown. So what you do is, you make sure that all your 10 people have renewing mist thanks to the help of Thunder Focus T. Right? And when you have Thunder Focus T happening, before the damage comes in, you want to make sure you have a full bar of chi. So you have all 4 chi. Right? Then, during that time, you can go uplift, so you have a lot of healing going out, so you have 2 uplifts that just went out. But because of a talent, the talent Chi Brew, where you instantly generate 2 Chi, you can hit that twice, and look, I just got another 2 Chi, so I can do another 2 uplifts. And hey, mathematically, I just did as much healing as a tranquility. But if I was watching my cooldowns during that time, and I saw that Expel Harm and Renewing Mist was about to come off cooldown during that time, that means if I do it correctly, I can get 5 uplifts in 7 seconds. Doesn't that just sound crazy to you guys?
Yes.
Very.
This is what we call in the mist weaving community the Wombo Combo. Because you get 5 uplifts out there, and they do so much healing that you make those sorry druids and paladins look silly. I'm sorry, but that's, as I said, it's really hard to pull off. This is something you have to practice and just teach you guys. And the best way of doing it is just learning how to use the ability, just learning your timings, and just learning, okay. And as I said, the really most important thing you can do with this is always look at your deadly boss mod timers, because you always want to see, okay, there's big area effect damage coming in really soon, and I need to be ready for that. So, as I said, you want to like hit your Thunder Focus T like 10 seconds before, no, like 8 seconds before that big damage comes in. Get your renewing mist out there. If you have 9 out there, that's okay. You won't do as much healing, but 9's just as efficient. That one probably sod just has to pop a defensive cooldown. And then you can do that. Then you can do, this is what I sometimes do. I go, this is what I go through when I do my head. I go, I have my full chi bar. I'm using my smoothing mist to try and get my full chi, which is not 100% reliable. But I'm using my Expel Harm renewing mist, but I'm just trying to, that do not touch the displays just threw me off, thank you. What you want to do
Sorry.
is just throw it out there, uplift, and then I check, okay, is my Expel Harm and renewing mist up cooldown? No. Okay, let's do another uplift. I throw that out there, and then I check my cooldowns again. One of them's off cooldown. Fantastic. I use Expel Harm. I get 1 chi. Then I use a chi boost. So I have 2 chi. I look at my cooldowns again. Okay. I've got 2 cooldowns. Alright. Uplift. And then I check my cooldowns. Okay, renewing mist is off cooldown. And then I go up, then I have 2 chi. Then I use Thunder Folk, then I use my chi brew again. Oh wait, I've got 4 chi again. Uplift, uplift. I just did 5 uplifts in 7 seconds, people. There you go. But sometimes you might not be able to get that 5th one. hit yourself on the head or cry in bed if you can't get that 5th one, because it usually just comes down to the timing of Expel Harm and Renewing Mist to be off cooldown while doing that combo. So any questions on that? I just want to ask you guys real quickly.
Nope.
Does everybody understand that concept?
Very,
that's
very
good.
dimly.
Yeah.
So just before I go, you said very dimly before. Like, what part of that don't you quite get?
Yeah, when I think of it, I'm trying to think of it in terms of my kind of button sequence, and I haven't quite got that. I'm still not very experienced healing with my Mistweaver, so it may be that there's a lot of stuff I haven't gotten yet.
That is fine, as long as like you know that combo is there and you can practice that combo. When it comes to 25-man rating and you're doing things like LFR, and if you time it correctly, you can get 17 out, but that's a completely different animal altogether because, as I said, I'm not experienced with 25-man rating as a Mistweaver. I did DPS as in 25-man, but that's not quite the same as healing before I joined CTR. But now I'm a healer, I'm enjoying it a lot right now.
Okay, so run through it one more time, the order.
So,
I think that might be what she was wanting to.
Yeah, maybe it's just like the order of things, in other words. First,
Because you could actually do it with the four of us standing here. I think, couldn't you? Or could you?
I can do that in front of you guys. Let me invite you guys.
I don't even think you have to because mine keeps going off on everybody.
Alright, let me just watch this, okay. Okay, I'm trying to get my full chi right now, so it's like, okay. Okay, that big damage is coming. Thunder Focus Chi. Keep my chi going. Okay, uplift. Okay, at this point, everybody has uplift at this point. Okay, I got my full chi, big damage incoming. Okay, let's go. There you go. I just did that combo just then.
uh-huh.
Wow.
That's amazing.
But yeah. and your mana bar didn't move.
No, it didn't, because as I said, there's one thing you gotta remember. Uplift costs no mana. It only costs 2 chi, doesn't say anything about mana. As I said, free healing! Haha!
Yeah. Okay, so you have to have your Thunder Focus Tea and Renewing Mist on everybody.
Yeah, it's Thunder Focus Tea to keep Renewing Mist on people because it refreshes the duration of Renewing Mist. In 5-man, it's not that important because, hey, it's so easy to keep 5 Renewing Mist going constantly. That's why monks are pretty decent at challenge modes. But that's one of the other things I'll talk about later. The other thing I want to talk about is a couple of other really important spells, some defensive cooldowns and all that stuff. Revival. God, I love Revival. My rating, we call it the one button wonder. It just heals everybody up. It does around 150 healing. If it crits, it can go 300k. It heals everybody up. It's a lay of hands for the whole raid, and it removes all debuffs on the group that are magic, poison, or diseased. It is quite beautiful, and this is why Mistweavers were so good on Horodon, because they could remove all the debuffs from all the poisons and all that stuff. It was so good right now.
Now that I did actually witness. I mean, I rating with this one, but it was glorious when we had a monk with us.
Oh yes. Mistweavers were so good for that fight, as I said. Now, I'm going to teach you a spell that you don't normally see every now and then, and some monks don't use it properly. Transcendence. Not many people think how to use this, but this can be so good when you need to. Let me give you an example. Shah of Pride. There's a little mechanic in that fight where you get locked up in prisons, right? But the best thing is, healers don't get locked in those prisons. Let's just say the prison's there, I'm over in my group over here, I'm healing away, and then my stupid mage gets caught in the prison. I'm like, oh, I can do that, teleport straight back, I'm sitting on the prison straight away, and then I go, whoop, unfortunately I can't do it right now because it's on cooldown. And who's this silly priest? Get out of my classroom, you silly priest. Tell him to go away, people. Silly priests.
Yeah.
So, the only thing they bring is buzzing of fortitude. They can't do what we can do. So, anyway, back to what was I saying before. There's a lot of spells that you can see. As I said, another really big spell that is really important. Life Cocoon.
I love it. You know, I got yelled at one day for cocooning the tank.
That tank is silly because if they're going to give you the excuse of I don't get rage when he cocooned me like that, well, tough luck because in Wrath of the Lich King they fixed that bug where if you get absorbed you don't get rage. They fixed it, and tell that guy to shut up because it just saved his life. I'm sorry.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. It's like, would you rather die?
Because the thing I don't understand that. But I'm going to teach you one more spell, healing spell, that you can use all the time. And there's actually two more spells which I want to talk about, which are very situational. But this is the next one I want to show you. Healing Spheres. Okay. Healing Spheres, as I said, is a very situational spell. A secret of it is actually your highest single target healing spell in your arsenal. If you're lucky, it can guarantee 150k heal or 326k crit heal. As I said, it's your highest healing spell in your arsenal. But as I said, it's very hard to pull off because the best thing is it doesn't activate when the target is at full health. As I said, as that one person's trying to do that. So, what is it? And best another thing what you can do is, this is something that you just have to train your tanks, is just drop the whole pile of healing spheres next to them, and if they need to be healed, it's like, one of my healing spheres, bitch, you can just sidestep, get into them, and then they get back into their normal position, as I said before. It's one of those things where you have to just slowly learn over time. Oh, and best thing is if they, after 30 seconds, they explode and do a bit of AoE healing all the time, which is okay. And the last two spells I want to talk about when it comes to healing is Spinning Crane Kick. Spinning Crane Kick, it's only never use Spinning Crane Kick, in other words, I want to tell you guys. Only use it when you have Rushing Jade Wind. Because the reason being is because if you need to do area of effect healing, you may as well just do the wombo combo. Because it has literally a 90 second cooldown. 90 second cooldown. Or there's literally nothing else to do and just spinning to look pretty. That's all. I'm sorry, but yes, I have to admit, Spinning Crane Kick is an awesome looking spell. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of in love with it. Don't tell Renewing Mist. But besides from that, it's all okay. Spinning Crane Kick is the boss. I like it, but as I said, its HPS per second is really low. You only do that if your wombo combo is off cooldown or you're holding off on revival for something else that is coming up. That's the only real time that you want to use it. But as I said, the only real bad side of it is that with Spinning Crane Kick, it costs a lot of mana. If you consider using Spinning Crane Kick, you go in pretty fast. The next healing spell I want to talk about is Enveloping Mist. This is a 3-cost chi spell. It's the only healing spell on your healing bar that is yellow. And it does an okay-ish amount of healing. The way it works is that when you use it, right, it will give them a hot and increases the amount of healing that they get received by renewing smoothing mists, right? This is kind of more for a this person is taking a lot of damage because of a dot situation type spell where you got a little bit of time. Only one person in the raid is really taking damage. You can just chuck this on them, renewing mist on them. Then you can go bam, like that, and just go, okay, you'll live as long as I keep enveloping mist on you, smoothing mists, and just keep, if I keep smoothing mist on you, enveloping mist, and just keep healing you with smoothing mist, then it's all okay, like that. Right? But, as I said, it's all good, right? As I said, very situational. And there's one spell that I really need to talk to you about. It is very okay. And that last healing spell I want to talk about is Surging Mist, right? Surging Mist, try and avoid it like the plague. It costs an arm and a leg and it doesn't do that much healing. I'm sorry. It does horrible amount of healing. I'm sorry I'm moving away from the sound because it might stuff up the recording. I'm going in here for a bit. I'm sorry. But one of the other things I want to talk about is that when you do these types of spells, if you guys looking for where I am, I'm in the rogue place where all the rogue trainers are. I'm just in the building. When all the rogues are in the... Sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. Basically, we're doing... that's right, Surging Mist, that's right. Surging Mist, try and avoid it, to using it. Only use it in a really dire situation. The only real fight where it's actually useful is a Mercius if you want to heal up one ad very quickly. But besides from that, it's not much else. But I will tell you, but don't worry, I'll tell you guys how to heal a Mercius properly with all the ads, all that stuff.
Please.
Okay, I'll tell you that in a minute. But before I go on to that, do I have any questions about any of the spells that I may not have covered? Doesn't sound like
None
it.
for me.
Do you use cheese burst at all?
Chi Burst. Chi Burst, as I said, Chi Burst is really good for those fights where you're stacked up and there's a lot of ads, like Shah Pride, for example,
Yeah.
where you constantly stack, and it's really good for taking big stacks of ads now. You usually are swapping between Chi Burst and Chi Wave. I swap between the two all the time, depending from counter to counter. Right?
Okay.
The other thing I want to quickly talk about is that I had a question of how do I heal a Mercius with the ads. There's a couple of times you need to pick up. You want to pick up Chi Burst, Clemency, and Chi Torpedo. Because what you can do with that little combo, right, is that you can go up to them. If you see a big pack of them, what you want to do is stand next to the ad that is about to spawn, because you can tell because there will be little blue pools and you can see them flying across the sky. If there's like a line of blue ads, what you can do is you can, as soon as they land, time it so you can hit Chi Torpedo with that big line so they all get healed to around, say, I think they'll, like if you get lucky with a crit, like maybe 50% of their health, they just Chi Torpedo through them, because Chi Torpedo works on those ads. And if you get a big grip of them, it will heal them up pretty darn quickly. And best thing is, because you're in that range, because you're in the healing range, you get that buff that increases the amount of healing you do for like 8 seconds by 50%, that stacks. You can use that on other ads, so you can just use Smoothing Mist and then Surging Mist on that one ad, so you can get them back up, because as I said, you have like a big healing buff and all that stuff. When your raid leader also tells you to say, on this wave, I want you to use Revival, because Revival will affect the ads, the blue ads. There's one little thing I want you to do that makes you look amazing, alright? What you do is, you go up to a couple of ads that you can see. One or just one of them will do. Get that one ad up to full HP as fast as you can, right? Get that one ad up so you get the buff. So you get the 50% healing buff, right? If you're lucky, you can get the 100% healing buff. Run Chi Torpedo back to the center, or roughly around the center. Wait for the ads to almost get close-ish. Then Revival. If it crits, you heal every single ad. Not kidding. You heal all 25 of those blue boys up, and they'll all start walking, and you'll look like a bloody hero, and I can guarantee you'll rank on World of Logs.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. I have trouble on that one. I end up usually DPS in the black ones because I cannot heal them up.
Is it just a user interface?
It just doesn't stick. I don't know. I use soothing and surging. I've tried both. I've tried everything, and it seems like it just doesn't affect them.
Well, the thing is, when it comes, we're going to talk about gear in a second, and how to gem and how to enchant, because that might be an effectiveness to it. But
I've had it work once, but that's it.
As I said, renewing mists, right? Because if you put renewing mists on a ad, it will travel to other ads, and if you have a full thing of chi and you have chi brew, you can do that combo, the wombo combo on the ads, not king. But you maybe get like 4 of them, just because the way the ads works. But you can do the wombo combo if you need to. But you can also do that trick I taught you, which is chi burst, then chi torpedo through them, and then finish them off. Because at this point they'll move pretty slowly, so you can take your time and do renewing mist and then just follow it up and all that stuff. Mist weavers aren't really the best healers for that fight, but when you get to say the revival phase and you want to bring revival, that is when you shine with the get 1 or 2 stacks of the buff, run to the center, get to the center-ish because you don't want to be in that water, then heal every single ad up with revival. Bingo. Because the reason why you want to get into the center is so you can get in your range of many ads, because as we know, revival has a limited range as well. And one tip about revival. Revival is the only healing spell in game that has a crit ratio of 2.5. As most other healing spells have a crit ratio of times 2, so they'll do 2 times more healing. Well, revival will do 2.5 times healing. Just a little fact that you might like to know. Now, when it comes to, we'll talk about gearing, gemming, and before I move on to gemming, reforging, and enchanting real quick, is there any questions I have you guys from about any healing spell? It can be anything silly, right? You can say, hey, did you ever use provoke? Or other things like that.
I don't know.
Cool. One last thing I want to tell you guys real quick is one little tip you can do. I'm going to show you guys an item, and I want you to look at this item and look at it so hard that you guys will bleed. Make sure you always have those 2. I'm serious. Never use the spirit one, because you are mana efficient. You are the definition of mana efficiency. You don't need extra spirit. Give me that crit. Give me that extra intellect, because intellect gives me crit. And when I get crit, it actually increases my mana regen. Because when I get crit, when I critical strike with a healing mist, right? And if it's the healing mist that's going to give me a stack of mana T, instead of giving me 1 mana T, it'll give me 2. So, but as I said, this is one of those reasons. And when it comes to your potion of the Jade Serpent, the way I use that is I use that before a revival, because it just bumps up the power of revival by a lot, and it's really good. One of the emoji is for guests only. I get it. Thank you, Robot Man. But when it comes to gemming, enchanting, reforging, there's a couple of ways that people can do this, right? The most basic one, obviously, is go for haste. Haste until a certain cap, though, because you only want to go to a certain point, and that cap, according to your memory, if I open up my notes, is 16.57. So 16%, 16.65%. So write that down somewhere if you need to. Get it somewhere written down so you remember this number of 16.65%. And you have to remember, if you have a priest or a shadow priest in your group that will give you spell haste, you only need which is my current spirit at the haste at the moment, you only need 11.65%. But if you go over, that's fine. But just try and keep that that going. Then after that point, after this point, you want crit. Crit, crit, crit. Reason why crit is so good is because revival will crit, your uplift will crit, your hots will crit. Basically, crit all the way, babies. Just crit, crit, crit. Oh, by the way, did I mention you need crit? So that's just the way that goes. As I said, just get crit at the moment. The way I am gemmed and enchanted at the moment, I'm gemmed for 7.5. Actually, you guys can armory real quick. Teukad on you can just armory me if you guys want a second, so you can see how I'm gemmed, or just inspect me, because I don't think my armory's updated. As you can see, I've got the main gems I'm using at the moment is intellect crit on anything that is like the only set bonuses that I go for is if it's like 180 intellect plus. Then I go for that set bonus. If you look at the gloves, don't look at those, because that was just one night where I needed just a tiny bit more spirit just for a certain fight. So I figured just to put them in. But generally most of the time you're going for intellect crit in your reds and your yellows, and for your blues you're going to go for intellect spirit, or just intellect spirit, or if the socket bonus is any good. But if it's not that good, you can just put another intellect crit gem in there, just like that. You'll be okay just doing that sort of thing. And when it comes to reforging, well, as I said, you want to try and get rid of your haste over the cap. Then you want to get rid of as much mastery as you can. Although the new mastery at the moment is really good, I really love what they did to the new mastery for Mistweavers for 5.4. Actually, do you guys know what the new change to mastery? Just double checking you guys know what that is. The new changes that they did.
Oh, I can't remember. The mastery increases the amount the healing spheres does, correct?
Yeah, it does. That you're correct to that. But the change that they did to it is that if no one picks up a healing sphere for the time it's up, it will explode and do 50% of the amount healed. So it's always going to be useful. Now, there's actually a chance that people actually will use healing sphere, because healing spheres, in my opinion, it's like the old light well problem of Priest saying, click the light well, click the light well. It's that old problem.
They avoid them like the plague.
Yes, I know.
But no, love the round balls. Green balls of love.
And you look on the battlefield and you see finish a raid boss, and you look on the battlefield and you see hundreds of green orbs on the thing, and you just feel depressed. And because you know that was really hard to heal and no one used your green orbs. Yeah, I know the feeling. But don't worry. Yeah, you go, sorry.
If people level a monk, any of the monks, they get to notice those things. I mean, even when I'm playing some of my other tunes, I see, if I'm in a group and I see one of those little green balls sitting around, I go take it.
That's because you're a monk. Now, other monks will do that, but everybody else, they avoid them.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Until somebody is churning them out and have them save their lives many times, they just don't think of it.
By the way, let me just tell you something real quick. Are you seriously trying to tell that arcane mage that is standing in his rune prison to step out of his rune prison? Of course he's not. He's trying to kill a boss. Try to tell Coltrane that.
Yeah.
Oh, I get
but
just drop them on him.
Keep explaining dead players don't kill bosses.
I know. I keep giving them that excuse as well. But anyway, it doesn't matter, right, guys? Just pretend that mastery doesn't exist. That's the best way I've looked at it. And I just want to look at my notes real quick.
So you said haste was now 16.65?
16.65. But
Thank you.
But if you have enough haste and you want to go for a little more because you feel like you want to get another tick up in Renewing Mist, you can go for the 20... Hang on, let me just quickly see this because I forget. Hang on, just give me 1 second. I'm on website. There you go. Australian internet's so bad.
Yeah. So I hear.
Or the next one that you can go for if you want to go for it, but you'll sacrifice quite a bit of crit for this, is the 27.76% haste ratio, but minus 5% from that because, hey, you'll most likely will get a 5% haste buff. There was a point in time where I actually went for the 38.94%, which gives you 4 ticks of Renewing Mist. But then recently I went back to the back to the 16.65, and I got like 7% crit back, and my healing just went through the roof again. Like, my healing numbers were getting a little low. As I said, 16.65 is a pretty darn good number. That means you'll get 2 ticks of Renewing Mist, guaranteed. And that is just the way it works. Before I sign this off and send you guys off on your merry way, is there any questions at all you have about Mistweavers or anything you want to know about? Like, just shoot. I want to hear all the silly questions.
I don't know if I have anything.
Well, the thing that worked for me, I mean, because I'm really very new at this, is exactly what you said at the beginning, where you don't get the spells you're supposed to be using till later on, and so you get out of the habit of thinking of them.
Yeah, that is a really big thing. As I said, I fell into that trap for a little while during like 5.1. I'll be honest about that. My healing was terrible. Then
I'm trying to get out of that trap.
Yeah, as I said, it's the Mistweaving trap. As I said, and that's just one of the big things, right? Anyway, as I said, oh, by the way, just so that you guys know the way I'm healing when it comes to my user interface, I'm using a Razer Naga. It's a 12 something. It's got 12 buttons where the thumb would rest, and I use mouse over macros for my healing. So that pretty much uses the Blizzard default UI. And the reason why I do that is so I don't have to update any add-ons during that. One of the other add-ons that I use, we'll talk about add-ons real quick. One of the other add-ons I always use is Tell Me When. What that does is you can set it up, right? And you can set up to say, hey, tell me when this spell's off cooldown. And you can say, hey, tell me when this spell's off cooldown. And you can make little icons on your screen. You can make them as small, as big as you want. And say, hey, this is up now. And you can say, hey, this is up now. And you can even keep track of buff timers. Like, hey, this buff's about to fall off. Refresh me, please, when it comes to when you do a bit of fist weaving or anything like that. Besides, before I wrap this up and stop the recording, any last minute questions about add-ons or anything like that? Or anything at all?
No.
Yeah, I was going to ask about add-ons, but you're doing it all basic. I've had people fuss at me, well, why don't I use Voodoo or any of the others?
Yeah, I try to go for as little add-ons as possible. At the moment, I'm using LUI, which pretty much is everything at the moment.
Yes,
But
that's a nice one.
I like LUI personally, but generally what I try and do is, like, as I said, I'm using mouse over macros. If you guys want the actual macro or how that goes, I'll just give you that real quick.
Yeah, I would be interested in what the macros are.
Yeah, I've never used a mouse over, so I don't know anything about ever using them.
Well, essentially, I mean, I'm using Healbot, but essentially that's mouse over macros.
Yeah. But what it does is, instead of using that, instead of doing click shift or shift click or whatever, I'm literally using my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 keys, because all of those buttons are on my thumb because of my Razer Naga. As I said, what you do is you go /show tooltip, enter, then cast, mouse bracket at mouse over macro, hashtag help / exist, then da 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 da, and at the very end you just space, then the name of the spell you want. As I said, you can guys write this out on your macro list, but what I can also do for you guys, if you want, is give you a website real quick. So you can just copy this.
Yes, please.
Okay, I found the link. Okay, then I'm going to post it in Mumble. And that will take you to it, and that will take you directly to that macro, so you can control copy and control paste that if you want to. And you can copy that into WoW. And you can keep that on your macros folder, and you can just control copy and control paste it as much as you want with that add-on. And I think that will wrap us up, guys. This is teukad. If you guys have any questions at all about Mistweavers or anything like that, please find me in game. Yeah, it's teukad, obviously, but I do have a couple of characters that you can find me at. Or better off, I can give you my battle tags if you want.
That'd be great.
Yes, that would be handy.
Oops, sorry, wrong one. That's the one. So it's Harslick at hashtag 6810. And hope you guys have a great day. For much of you, it'll be a good night because all that stuff. And hope to see you in my. And one last thing I do want to talk about is that I do a flex run every night on Tuesday, my time. But thing is, for most of you, really, really late. So it'll be like I think for most of you, it'll be like 12 o'clock in the morning, like midnight. So that's the only real problem. But as I said, any questions you have, just please ask me. If you want to know something, Ask Mr. Robot is actually a pretty okay when it comes to reforging and all that stuff. So, yeah, so just try and guys find me. And this is teukad signing off, stopping recording now.